And there we go. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
And we'll do our mission statement here. Kiwanis
is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world, one child, one community at a time, in service to
others. Okay, thank you. Now let's see. Stop the share. Okay. And let's see, invocation, Andy.
Shall we all bow our heads? Father, we thank you for this time to gather together as Kiwanians. We would thank you for guiding us through this pandemic and how it seems to be getting better now. And we thank you for those positive reports. We'd ask that you'd continue to challenge our club with projects. We would ask that you would take care of the small children of the world and help us to be better Kiwanians by looking for things to do to fulfill our mission. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you, Andy. We do have a couple of guests with our speakers here, so we'll talk to them in just a bit. Let's see, announcements. COVID vaccine is now open to those 50 and over. So Caleb, you're getting closer. You know, March 12th, volunteer opportunities. March 12th, which is tomorrow, we're unloading the food truck at Nourish. Yes, Mac?
I'll be there.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I've got you on the list already, Mac. We could use 2 more people if anybody's available. That's at 9 a.m. On March 15th, we're packing backpacks. We're okay for there. I think we've got enough people there. Carolyn and Mark and Don Thompson are gonna be there on the 15th. On the 17th, we talked about the mobile food pantry that we've got at the Boys and Girls Club. We could surely use some more people there on the 17th. That starts at 10:30. Now we do have another opportunity or another thing that we need help on that day at 9 a.m. at Kroger. We need about 4 people to help load the truck at Kroger because they have they're picking up meat and bread and I don't know if it's milk or 3 things, and they've got a truck there, and so we're going to need to fill that and then take that over to the other to the Boys and Girls Club. So we'll need some people at 9 a.m. on the 17th to help load that truck. Jerry, we still need speaker coordinators.
Yeah, I didn't get any volunteers last week. I've got 1 slot open in May. We are going to do the training session, what is it, the last week in April. And I've got all 5 dates open in July. So if any of you have an idea for a speaker, please forward that to me and to Gary, and we'll get them on the schedule. Again, remind people that, you know, they don't have to be physically here. We can do it via Zoom. Hopefully by July, we will have resumed face-to-face meetings, but we'll figure out a way to get speakers to be able to see them via Zoom if they're not located in Crawfordsville.
Right. Jerry, what week do you have open in May? Do you know?
Hang on a minute. Let me open my spreadsheet that's got that. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's talk about Jerry while he's doing that.
I'm sorry, I should have had this open.
Well, Jerry's
open
doing that. Do we need trucks on the 17th or just people?
No, we just need people. They've got trucks. She's getting a truck. I guess she's using one of the Hoosier Heartland trucks.
Okay.
and she'll meet us at Kroger, and then we'll just load that up and take it over to Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, the date that is open in May is the 20th of May.
Okay.
As I said, we'll do the youth protection training on the 29th of April. And then I have all 5 dates in July open at this point.
Why don't we, and I don't know if it's too late, I don't know when schools closes, but the 20th of May, maybe we could do that top 15.
That's a good idea.
Okay, let me check to see when school closes, and we can try to get that for that 20th of May.
All right, I'll pencil that in for right now.
Okay. You know, anybody that ever has any kind of speaker that's willing to talk to us, we can use them. We like to keep the speakers to those that help others, especially those that help kids. So if we can get those types of speakers in here, let's do it. You know, if you have that, let's get them in and let's talk to them. Let's see who else we can help by doing that. Chamber of Commerce has provided a free membership, as we said. So we've got a web page on there, and they're going to do some advertising for us regarding Pancake Week. And we will be getting Pancake Week stuff out on the internet this week. Caleb, do you have anything more to say about Pancake Week? I know we talked a little bit this week, so.
So I've gotten with Paul there. We're going to be having signage up at the McDonald's. They've got the letterboard at the north side. They've got the sign here on the south side. So they're going to be updating those soon. So we should start to see that. We're printing off some bag stuffers essentially that are going to go into bags at McDonald's for the next couple of weeks. Little quarter page pieces that just kind of give an idea of where to get tickets and go from there. We do have tickets at the Visitors Bureau. So those now are available for sale. And obviously from any Kiwanian, like we said, breakfast hours, it's going to be till 10:30 throughout the week. And then on Saturday, it'll be till 11. I'm going to have a sign-up sheet coming out here soon for Kiwanians being out at the 2 McDonald's locations during the week. Just, having a couple of them out there, a few of us out there with, with the signs and making sure that people know that it's Pancake Week. And we'll see if we can't get some more money for, the Youth Service Bureau or Boys and Girls Club or Riley or something like that. So we'll see there. Just the beginning notice that if you do sign up for that, you've got to wear gloves, got to wear a mask when we're out there. That's going to be a definite requirement. And then we're going to see if we can have a couple days here over the next couple weeks where we're out in the parking lots of McDonald's, at least the south location, where we can have a table and sell some tickets there too. So look for some sign-up sheets coming out here this week, early next week, and we'll see if we can get some folks out.
Good. Yeah, it'd be great to have some people out there in advance. And I will get some, I've got some cans that we can use for just collecting donations too. So anything we can do with that would be great to get that done there. We also have availability to use rooms at the Youth Service Bureau. So we're actually going to hold our next board of director meeting there at the Youth Service Bureau. There was a little confusion with the chamber, but so we are going to have our next board meeting at the Youth Service Bureau. Speaking of the board, Jim, do you want to talk at all about the need for people?
Sure. We need some board members, and we need somebody, whether it's a current board member or just a member, to step up to be vice president for the 21-22 year. anybody that wants information about it, give me a call or give Jerry a call or Don Thompson. We're the nominating committee. And in the next 2 months or so, we'll be putting a group together to be voted on by the members.
So we've got to continue on. You know, we are a service organization, and as we talked about it with some other members recently, you know, we want to continue to serve. It's not just the you know, writing a check to somebody, but helping them out. So we need to get these other people involved. So we need new members, and we need places where we can serve and do the service that is required really of Kiwanis. We also ask again that every member consider what you would have paid for meals during this time and contribute that to the club. I know it's a time when we're paying for pancake tickets and all the others, but even with that, we would have been contributing or paying the meal tickets and everything anyhow. So if you can, please help support the club so we can meet our commitments.
How much are meal tickets?
Meal tickets are $6, or regular meal tickets are, what were they, Sharon, 8 or 7?
$87.50 for a quarter.
Yeah, $87.50 for the quarter. Okay. So if we can, let's please do that. Member updates. Boy, I talked to Dave Polly the other day, and I received an email from him last Friday, and he told me he was going in the hospital again for more surgery. So he was having a surgery on Tuesday. I talked to him yesterday. He said it turns out that his injuries are more serious than first thought. He had 7 broken ribs instead of 3. A lot more coagulated blood in his pleural cavity. After the surgery, he was telling me he's at St. V's, will be there for a while. He's doing well, making good progress, but he also said it turns out that he also punctured his diaphragm, which complicated the surgery.
He must have really gone down hard.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and this is caused by just a slip on the ice. So
Wow.
we all need to be careful, please. Wow, what a fall he had, and just a little simple slip on the ice, and all this happens. So we need to take care. He is at St. Vincent's. I'm sure cards would be appreciated if we can do anything. Joe Booser, he got his, interestingly enough, he got his first shot on February 13th, the same day we did. Went home and subsequently got COVID. So he's recovering now. He finally has gone back to work. But it's interesting that he had it and then got COVID. So he's planning on getting his second shot this Saturday with a bunch of others of us, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it because he had the COVID. So he's going to try. Any other member updates? Anybody knows about? Okay. Community involvement. We talked about Pancake Week already. We will get the tickets out. A packet of tickets is $90. And we expect that everyone here would purchase a packet to sell or give away. If you want to pick up the tickets, please let me know. And because otherwise I'm going to mail them out. So I know Mark's coming by to pick up tickets. If anybody else wants to, let me know. So I'll put them in the mail.
Harry, bring mine tomorrow.
Okay, will do. Will do. Okay. We're gonna change a little bit to what we've had in the order here. So we're gonna do birthdays. So Kiwanian birthdays this week. The only one I have is the 13th, which is Scott Mullen. That's his birthday. Scott doesn't make it around to the club that much because he's usually working up in Lafayette on Thursdays. But we hope he's doing well. 1903, Lawrence Welk was born in North Dakota. 1934, Sam Donaldson was born. And in 1936, Antonin Scalia was born, the 105th Supreme Court Justice. And in 1950, a guy by the name of Bobby McFerrin was born. I don't know if you remember him, but this was his song. Don't worry, be happy, right? So we're gonna go from this and go into Happy Bucks. As we know, Q2 is for Riley Hospital. And speaking of Riley, I did have a call with the Kiwanis Kids Committee this week, and there's some great things going on with Riley. And I put some of that out already, and I will be putting more out. But you know, they just are in the process of finishing their maternal neonatal medicine facility. Okay, it'll be opening up hopefully by fall of this year. Riley has the highest level NICU in the state and is also the largest NICU in the state. So it's going very, very well. They're doing some stuff. I know I talked to you before about the safety store. The safety store has developed a helpline, and I put this out on our website or on our Facebook page so you can look at it. And I encourage you to pass it on to others. But if anybody around the country has any type of safety questions, they can call the safety store, and the safety store has the answers for them or knows where they can get the answers. The safety store, the phone number from there is area code 317-274-OK. So you know, they can reach that safety store, and I tell you, they have all the answers there. So for any safety issues, they've also got a new web page and a Facebook page that provides safety tips for all types of hazards around the home or outdoors. So getting back to being happy, I'm happy because we got our second shot this Saturday. And I know that there are others that are going this Saturday too. So I'm also happy for the nice weather. So we can all be happy. Who else is happy today?
I'm happy.
Okay.
The members of the Purdue basketball team have never lost to Indiana. Purdue has beat Indiana 9 times over the last 9 games. So I'm happy for that, and I'm happy that I got my garden tilled in these nice days.
Good. Who else is happy? Jerry.
I'll throw in 5 for Riley. Got some good news a couple of days ago that the refrigerator for the kitchen remodel project, which was missing in action, is going to be delivered on Tuesday. So my wife is very happy about that.
Good. I know somebody at Ace Hardware if you need.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Who else is happy?
I'm happy.
What are you happy about, Andy?
Well, we're heading to Florida on Sunday for a week to go see our grandkids, and we haven't seen them for a year and a half.
Wow.
So we haven't been able to go down there. So we're heading down on Sunday and be back following Saturday.
Good. Boy, wasn't that great news that this whole thing about vaccinations, if you have 2 weeks past the vaccination, you can go see your grandkids. I mean, that was just fantastic to be able to throw that out there. You know, today, when we talk about this day in history, we're gonna hit on that, but anybody else happy? Okay, get your happy bucks into Sharon. And, P.O. Box 611 here in Crawfordsville. This day in history on March 11th, 1918, U.S. Army mess cook Private Albert Gitchell of Fort Riley, Kansas, becomes the first documented case of Spanish flu. 1918. So, Brian, I'm sure you didn't know him, but a little bit before your time, right? You're muted, Brian.
You are correct. A little before my time, but I have heard the name.
Okay. 1918, Moscow becomes the capital of revolutionary Russia. 1958, American B-47 bomber accidentally drops a nuclear bomb 15,000 feet on a home in Mars Bluff, South Carolina, creating a crater 75 foot across. It wasn't, the nuclear bomb didn't go off, but it did make a mess. 1974, Rhino Record Store started giving people 5 cents just to take home the Danny Bonaducci album. So if anybody knew Danny Bonaducci, imagine trying to sell your album and, they can't even give it away. They have to give you additional 5 cents to take it away. In 2011,
He was on the Brady Bunch, wasn't he?
magnitude earthquake. Oh, Andy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said he was on the Brady Bunch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No,
Or not-
Partridge
Partridge
family.
family.
Oh, the
Partridge
Partridge family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
There you
Yes.
go.
Little
2000.
redheaded guy.
Pardon me.
He was a little redheaded guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Annoying.
Terry,
Yeah.
Yeah. His
Terry,
album
were you-
must have been too.
Terry, were you president of his fan club?
Yes.
Low battery.
2011, a 9.0 magnitude earthquake strikes east of Sendai, Japan, triggering a tsunami, killing thousands of people and causing the second worst nuclear accident in history at the Fukushima nuclear plant. And then, of course, 2020, 1 year ago today, COVID-19 declared a pandemic by the head of the World Health Organization, with 121,564 cases worldwide and 4,373 deaths. Who would have thought then what it was going to be like 1 year later? My goodness, the world changed in that time. National days. Today's National Funeral Director and Mortician Recognition Day, and we don't have either one of them on here. We got all these members that are funeral directors and morticians, and they're not here. It's National Worship of Tools Day. So you gotta worship your tools. Go out in the garage and clean them all out. And it's Popcorn Lovers Day. So have a bowl of popcorn while you're cleaning your tools. So let's see, Jim, you want to introduce our speaker?
I do.
Okay, and Brian or Ashley, I'm going to put everybody on mute. So if you need to get off of mute, or if you need to be unmuted, just please unmute yourself. And if you need to share a screen or share, I can make you a host. Who needs to do that, Ashley or Brian?
I
do it. Okay, I will make you a co-host. And okay, Brian, that should come through. So Jim, you want to go ahead and introduce our speaker?
If you haven't muted everybody.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
and Ashley's still muted.
There you go.
Okay. Today we have Brian Copes and Ashley with us. Brian serves as President and Chief Executive Officer of Helping Veterans and Families. of Indiana and the largest nonprofit provider of veteran services in the state of Indiana. In 2020, his agency served over 1,400 homeless and at-risk veterans in central Indiana by providing transitional housing, rental assistance, substance abuse counseling, employment placing, and legal services. They've distributed over 45,000 pounds of food, 11,000 pounds of clothing, and during nearly 1,900 engagements with veterans in need. Brian retired in 2015 as a one-star general with 38 years of service in the Indiana National Guard. He's a helicopter pilot with over 1,700 flight hours and initially served as an enlisted helicopter mechanic. General Copes was appointed a Sagamore of the Wabash. He's earned his Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Bronze Star, and Combat Action Badge for service in Afghanistan. Brian and his high school sweetheart Donna have been married for 43 years and have two children and 6 grandchildren. And just as a side note, in 2011, I volunteered about 5 or 6 different times at HVAF, and I thought this is a very great organization that does a lot of good work for veterans. So, Brian, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about who we are and what we do, and particularly who we serve. So let me ask Ashley or Gary, is the screen sharing working properly? Are you seeing my slide?
It's not full presentation mode, Brian.
Right. Let's see.
There you go. Yep, there, looks good.
Okay, all right, cool. We're there now. Gary, I got to tell you, all the heated rhetoric about Pancake Week has got me hungry now. I am jonesing for some pancakes. So,
Well, come on out, boy. I tell you, we'd love to serve you.
that's good stuff. I tell you, my grandkids love McDonald's pancakes. So you see there, that's our vision statement: hope, housing, and self-sufficiency for all veterans and their families, because it's a team effort. And we've been doing it since 1993. We've been in the business. We are the largest nonprofit provider of veteran services in the state of Indiana. You heard some of the numbers that are out there. That's what we do. Primarily in our start was as transitional housing. We also do permanent supportive housing. A lot of what we do is rental and utility assistance. You can see the bullet points there: employment services, legal services, and we meet basic needs: food, clothing, and hygiene. And I usually qualify that short laundry list by telling people we are not all things to all veterans, but we are a lot of things to a lot of veterans. So to give you a quick summary of the last year and our response during the COVID pandemic, we were challenged, as every employer was, internally. How do we see to the safety, health, and well-being of our workforce, and how do we continue serving our clients? Now, as a human service agency, that's how we're categorized in this space. We were deemed an essential agency and an essential service. So my entire workforce were essential employees. We ended up finding out that we were able to do more remote work than we would have ever imagined. But a lot of what we did last year, you can see there, prepaid food and gas cards was an immediate way to provide relief. And you all, I'm sure, remember where you were when the lockdown order came. And our clients had the same challenges and the same food insecurity. Not surprisingly, our donations went down relative to food and hygiene items, and the demand went up. Even our homeless vets, even our at-risk vets experienced food insecurity or food shortages like everybody did. we couldn't find bottled water and toilet paper and Clorox wipes and all the things everybody else was challenged with. And because a couple of the agencies in Indianapolis whom we are compelled to work through in order to get our veterans housed, they shut down because they were not deemed essential services. So we started backing up in the pipeline veterans who had vouchers from the Housing and Urban Development Agency, but we couldn't process them because the agency that handled them had shut down. So we were blessed that the United Way of Central Indiana and some other local corporations threw money at us. And so we were able to, in lieu of housing these veterans or putting them in some of our properties, which are congregate settings. They share a house together. They have a private bedroom, but they share the living room and the kitchen, laundry room, and bathrooms. We were able to put them in extended stay hotels. And then much of our funding is through the Veterans Administration, but it took them about 4 weeks before they loosened up the rules and allowed us to spend the money they had allocated us for hotel stays, where previously that would not have been an authorized expense. And then you can see the other bullets that are on here. Prior to COVID, we had limited any veteran in the community, not just our clients, any veteran in the community can come in and get food, clothing, and hygiene items. But previously, our longstanding practice had been once per month. We went to essentially unlimited, which equated generally to once a week for most of our clients. And if any of you began to stockpile a bit with toilet paper or bottled water or canned meat or whatever it was you were stockpiling, our veteran clients felt the same impulse. And so they came in more regularly for several weeks. And then we had it sort of subsided. We figured they had stockpiled and didn't need it because we were confident if they needed it, they were going to be on our doorstep. And then that last bullet there, finally about December, after we had been able to make some modifications to our facilities to better protect our staff and the clients that came in, we were able to invite volunteers to come back in and help. And because we had to declare a moratorium on volunteer help due to the risk of exposure from COVID, we also curtailed accepting clothing donations because any of you that have worked in this space at a church or another nonprofit that accepts donations, clothing donations are always welcome, but they are very labor intensive. You got to pull one piece at a time out of a box or a bag and identify it and sort it and stock it. And we simply didn't have volunteer manpower to process the volume of donations for clothing that we would have routinely had. So we limited clothing donations to new underwear, socks, and t-shirt, which are always in high demand and low supply. But by December, we were able to invite volunteers back in again. And instead of handing a veteran in need a couple of bags of food that had been prepackaged and may or may not have been what that particular veteran wanted, we were able to allow them to come back in the pantry and shop, which we had been doing for about 2 years prior to COVID, so that not only were we better stewards because the veteran selected the items they wanted, and so we were tailoring the provision of food and clothing and hygiene items to the needs of that particular veteran. By allowing them to shop, we also respected their free will and determination and respected their humanity as American citizens with the right of free will and free choice to shop for whatever they would. And the only limitation we imposed was managing the inventory. We didn't care if they wanted to get 20 or 25 packages of ramen noodles, if that's what they wanted. However, We also knew that there were veterans in line behind them who wanted ramen noodles. So we had to limit quantities simply to try and provide as many veterans as much as what they wanted as possible. So I've got about a 3.5-minute video here that talks about our COVID response. And we'll add a little more detail and provide you some imagery of what we do and who we do it for. So let me hope this piece of the technology works.
The biggest effect from COVID is everything being closed down, and HVAF has helped me get hold of the people that I need to get hold of and do everything that I need to do while still staying safe and staying virtual.
No symptoms, but I did quarantine myself, and if I needed anything, I'd just text them and they would get what I needed.
I think one of the very first things that we got was an award from the United Way of Central Indiana. They just sent money out to really all the providers to say, hey, we recognize COVID is wrecking what you're doing. Here's some money, use it as best you can. And that was a huge blessing because, you know, at the time we did not have any other additional funding coming in, and we were scrambling to try and figure out how to adapt in this climate. And so one of the first things that we did was we went out and we purchased food cards, gas cards, and we started paying for hotel stays for some of our veterans.
I'm excited. I welcome them back with open arms. I'm excited to see everyone come back, volunteers included. Just being able to provide this dignity back to them is very important to us as well as the veterans. Thank everyone for helping out, for continuing with their donations, monetary, material, it doesn't matter. Everything that we receive in our pantry gets redistributed back out to our veterans. So thank everybody for helping us at being able to do what we do on a day-to-day basis.
To help appreciate what we've done. So you can see the numbers here, 1,453 last year. The previous year, the number was very close to the same, 1,457. That is about 85% of that number is Marion County or Indianapolis, and the balance is distributed somewhat equally amongst the donut counties, which is the footprint that we serve is Marion and the donut counties. Out of that 1,400 number, a little over 900 were literally homeless when we encountered them, and then the balance were at risk. And we generally define at risk as they were facing eviction because they're behind on their rent, or they were facing loss of utilities. They were going to have their electric or gas or water shut off. which is where the majority of our financial assistance goes, is rental assistance, utility assistance. You can see how many we were able to permanently house, and nearly every one of those in a permanent housing setting is having a significant portion of their rent subsidized through a HUD Section 8 voucher. And they likely will be dependent on that voucher for the remainder of their life. When you look at that 1,453 number, the average age of that number is 52, but that doesn't tell you what you think you want to know. That age distribution is sort of barbell shaped. We've got a cluster of veterans in the 65 to 75 range, really, and that's trending towards the 70 to 79 range, and that's Vietnam era veterans. For that particular population of veterans, the majority of them are either single or they only have a significant other in their life. They're not actively parenting, they're not raising families. At that age, we're not having discussions about careers. We are having discussions about jobs, where they may find some job to supplement a fixed income. And for that generation of veterans, the self-medicating drug of choice is alcohol. At the other end, at the younger end of our age continuum, we've got a cluster of veterans in the 35 to 45-year-old range, and these are Iraq and Afghanistan vets. For that population, for that generation of veterans, about 85% of that population are married. They have 2 or 3 dependents, so they're actively parenting. They have 25 or 30 years of work life in front of them. So now we're talking about careers, not just jobs. And for that population, that generation of veterans, the self-medicating drug of choice is opioids, heroin, Oxycontin, oxycodone, or in many cases, prescription painkillers that were a result of treatment that they had received through the VA medical system. So we're seeing the numbers of veterans we serve are not fluctuating dramatically from year to year, but the demographic composition of those veterans is shifting. The older generation of veterans is simply passing away, and the younger generation, as they separate from the service, or many of them as they retire from the service, are beginning to find themselves in difficult circumstances. So the numbers aren't changing, but the types of needs that we are addressing with an increasingly younger veteran population are changing. Now we're talking about family life and parenting. Now we're talking about career management and employment. And now we're talking about a different kind of substance abuse and addiction problem than the generation that we've been serving for many years. So we have a 5-person, our staff is 65 in number. About 48 of those are case managers or social workers who actively sit day to day, eyeball to eyeball, working with our veterans to work through whatever particular circumstances that veteran is facing, one of which for many is unemployment. Now, I distill a lot of these things that we do down into what I call a simple farmer speak. I was born and raised on a farm, southeastern Indiana. My 89, soon to be 90-year-old dad still lives by himself out in the farmhouse he was born in. And he lives vicariously through me and my 2 brothers about what we do and our families and our careers and vocations. So I try to describe this stuff in terms that my dad understands. Homelessness is not the problem, it's a symptom. It's a symptom almost always of unemployment, but even that's a symptom. The root cause for 80-ish% of our clients is either a mental, emotional, or behavioral health issue. There's a reason they've not been able to gain and maintain stable employment. They won't show up 5 days in a row. They don't like to follow instruction. They don't work and play well with others in the workplace. And so when they have a mental, emotional, behavioral health issue, it's almost always associated with a substance abuse issue of some kind. So my team works, although our goal is to house them, they have to work through these other issues as a means to that end. So the team here focuses very much on root causes. But employment, without stable employment, you're not going to end up with stable housing. So we have a 5-person employment team, all of whom are social workers by trade, but which have extensive experience in the workforce development and employment arena in their lives before they came to work for us. They do what any employment agency or any staffing agency does, with a peculiar focus or particular focus on veterans. They are always accumulating a portfolio of talent while simultaneously building an ever-growing portfolio of employers who are looking for good, reliable human capital to hire. So they matchmake in the most fundamental sense. And then legal assistance, we contract with a half-time lawyer at the Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic. And routinely, some of the barriers nearly every one of our veteran clients face is whether they've been homeless for a period of time, whether they've been incarcerated, whether they've simply been out of the workforce for years. Many will have lost their driver's license for one reason or another. Many will have child support issues. They will have child custody issues. They'll have bankruptcy and divorce issues. And so until you can resolve those, they're going to be in a difficult place to be gainfully employed and to remain in a stable housing session. You saw the numbers there. Those are pretty extraordinary numbers in terms of the thousands of pounds of food and thousands of pounds of clothing. And last year, that's a fraction of the clothing we distributed in the previous year. In 2019, we distributed 53,000 pounds of clothes. Last year, because we didn't have as much coming in and we weren't giving as much out, we only did 11,000. And the majority of that were the essential items I mentioned, underwear, t-shirts, and socks. And then we did have some drives beginning about September and actually continuing even now for cold weather and wet weather clothing. And Ashley and her team did a great job of putting out a plea on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on email, and some video spots. And people responded very, very well. And we're deeply grateful for that. And then just give you a number, that 778 is individual veterans. We use the term non-duplicated. That was 778 individual veterans. Now, many of those veterans came back multiple times. So we not only count the number of veterans we serve, but we have to count the number of times that we served them. So if one veteran came in every month, that was 12 times we served them. And so the number of services we provided was extraordinary. Ashley, do I remember it was 33,000 last year?
Yep,
services.
it was over.
Yeah, 33,000 individual services. That's across the board. That also included the substance abuse and addiction counseling sessions, the peer mentoring, the vet-to-vet support groups, the whole array of services. That included legal, that included employment, but all of the services to all of the veterans that this agency provided was over 33,000 individual services that we provided to veterans.
I was downsized in my job and we had got laid off.
Army veteran Pamela Coleman found herself jobless and homeless and needed help to get back on her feet. 9 months later, she now has a place to call home, thanks to HVAF showing her the keys to a self-sufficient life.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to my new place.
Since 1993, HVAF, helping veterans and families, has served homeless and at-risk veterans, as well as their families. HVAF provides many services for veterans, such as housing, as we have 17 properties around Indianapolis to house 158 veterans each night. And case management. We have more than 30 case managers who help veterans overcome any obstacles. We also provide employment services, where our specialists help veterans with their resumes, hold mock interviews, host job fairs, and they helped 155 veterans find gainful employment last year. Navy veteran Rodney Jackson spends his Monday through Fridays going out to Indy's homeless camps and reaching out to the homeless veterans. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we open up our food, clothing, and hygiene pantry for all veterans who are in need of these essential items. And our community room is open for veterans to have a safe place during the day to grab a cup of coffee and spend time with one another.
Hello, my name is Brian Copes. I have the privilege to serve as the President and Chief Executive Officer for HVAF of Indiana, helping veterans and families. After serving so many years in the military myself, I speak that language, I know that landscape, and I have the privilege every day to work for, with, and around veterans in need. When I have the opportunity to tell people who we are and what we do, I'm often asked, how can we help? The answer is simple. Money always works. One size fits all, and it's always the right color. If you can't do money, in-kind donations of food, clothing, and hygiene items are always welcome. If you can't do that, you can volunteer some of your time and talent. We will never have enough volunteers to meet the work that needs to be done for all of our properties and all of our clients. And if you're not able or willing to do any of that, just spread the word about who we are and what we do. HVAF of Indiana, helping veterans and families since 1993.
There we go. Next to the last slide, we'll wrap up. There's a quick summary. In any given month, we've got 300 to 400 veterans who come through our doors for one reason or another, to see our case managers, to seek help, to seek advice, to get food, clothing, hygiene items. It is a wide array of things. And our most effective advertising is word of mouth. And so if you'd have seen the video, what you would have heard me say, that I say when I get the opportunity to speak to groups like yours and people ask in some way, shape, or form, how can we help? I'm glad you asked. The answer to that, and I say it without shame or embarrassment, is money. We can always use money as a nonprofit. One size fits all, and it's always the right color. If you can't do that, in-kind donations, which is our fancy way of saying we can always use food, clothing, and hygiene items. And because we have 18 properties scattered around Indianapolis, we have 171 individual units within which we house veterans. We can take a wide array of additional donations like household goods, small appliances, furniture, either to refresh our properties on a regular basis or to equip our clients when they leave our property and move into a place of their own. We set them up in housekeeping with basic household goods, always a bed, mattress, and box springs, a dinette set, and maybe a recliner, and then household goods like laundry detergent, baskets, dish towels, dishwashing soap, those sorts of things. We can take a wide array of donations because of the need of our organization. So if you can't give money, you can't give in-kind goods, you can give of your time. We always can use volunteers. Ashley and her team organize the volunteer effort, and my team does a great job of tailoring our projects to the amount of people and the amount of time that you want to give. So if it's you by yourself for a couple of hours or a morning or an afternoon, that's great. If it's you and 40, 50, or 60 of your closest friends and family, they will tailor a project. And when we have that many properties, there is always inside work to be done and outside work to be done. And there's never a shortage of, I will say, low to no skill work in rotating and stocking the food in our food pantry, and simply sifting, sorting, and stocking the clothing donations that come in. So we will never have enough volunteers. And lastly, if you can't do any of those things, just spread the word about who we are and what we do, so that you get our brand out there in the public consciousness. So I don't know where I'm at on time. I usually run long, and Gary, I apologize if that's the case, but thanks again for the opportunity to speak to you all today, and your interest in just listening to who we are and what we do, and particularly supporting the veterans that we serve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Very interesting. Can you take us off of share screen?
Oh, yeah, I sure can.
Now, yeah, we can get everybody else in here. So who's got some questions for Brian?
I'll tell you, you'll ask me a 10-second question. I'll give you a 10-minute answer. That's an occupational hazard from my former life, but ask away.
Brian, I really appreciate what you're doing. I just sat here in awe listening to all that you do. I say, why? I mean, it's like these people come and serve the country, and it's like, okay, you're done. We're done with you. Take care. We'll work with the ones that are serving the country now. I just don't understand. Isn't there any educational system in this process that works with them for when they leave or when they're getting out, and knowing their background to try to help them to get stabilized when they do get out?
Yes, there is. And early on, I'll have been here 5 months next month. Early on, one of my social workers said to me, "Hey, boss, you know, the veterans we serve are homeless for the same reasons everybody else is homeless." And I was slightly offended, but his point was well made. And I will tell you now, having looked at this from my vantage point for 5 years, he was right. Our clients are homeless for the same reasons. I can tell you in my first couple of years, I would sign 20 or 30 checks a day for assistance. And at the bottom of a packet, about a half-inch thick, was their discharge paper. And so I did my own personal informal survey and analysis. And I looked at every discharge and I wanted to know what service they were in, when did they serve, what was their specialty, and what was the nature of their discharge. For the population that we serve that end up on our doorstep, 75% of them have an other than honorable discharge. Something happened in their military service and it didn't end up the way that they would have hoped it would. And I easily looked at probably 2,000 discharges over a 2+ year period and recognized, in fact, at that time, the longest period of service was 14 months. So many of these folks only served a few weeks or a few months, and they're veterans by virtue of that service, but many fall short of the eligibility criteria for a whole array of veterans benefits for that reason. But here's what I said to my team, and I would say this to you. The mere fact, let's accept that their military service did not end as they might have hoped and we might have wished. The mere fact that they stepped up, raised their hands, swore the oath, donned the uniform, and gave it a shot would still separate them from 99% of the American population who can't or won't even give it that much. Point one. Point two, and here's what I really want to say to you. For those veterans, however brief a period of time they served, that period of military service was the most meaningful experience in their life. If you're an 18-year-old and you join the military, you have answered the two profound existential questions of life. Who am I? What's my purpose? When you don the uniform, those questions have been answered. I'm a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine. My purpose is to fight and win America's wars, to support and defend the Constitution, to defend our American freedoms and values and ideals. And it doesn't matter if you serve 3 months or 30+ years, there's almost nothing else in your life that will compare to that powerful sense of identity and purpose that comes with being in the military. So my theory is those folks, once they left the military, have never found anything in their lives that gave them that sense of meaning and purpose. And that is what I offer for your consideration is a significant contributor to why they have not fulfilled their potential. So I told you 10-second question, 10-minute answer, but that kind of, I hope, gets at the heart of what you were asking me.
Brian,
I have a question.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you purely Marion County or do you go outside of the county?
Say that again. I missed the first part.
First of all, I am a veteran. I'm proud of it. Secondly, do you only service Marion County or do you go outside of Marion County?
Marion County and the donut counties that surround it. Each of my social workers, we call them case managers, has a balanced portfolio of clients. Let's just say all of them have 15 to 20, maybe 25 veterans. About 80% of those veterans will be Marion County. The balance will be in one of the surrounding counties. Marion County alone accounts for 66% of all of the veterans in the state of Indiana. So that's where the concentration of veterans is here in Marion County.
Brian, do these people come to you or do you go searching for them?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do these veterans, do they come to you knowing your organization or do you go to them? Do you go find them, homeless on the streets and whatever?
All the above is the answer to your question. We have one of our team members. He's a retired Navy petty officer. He goes out Monday through Friday, visits every tent city, every homeless camp, asks around for where the new camps are, looks under overpasses and bridges, and actively searches out homeless veterans. Word of mouth from veteran to veteran to veteran gets them in our doors. We are closely partnered with all the other homeless and human service agencies here in Indianapolis and the surrounding counties. So as each of those agencies might encounter, they encounter people that show up on their doorstep or through their own respective outreach efforts every day. And as soon as part of their screening and intake process identifies a veteran, they immediately refer them to us. And I've got a couple of team members whose function is to text, to call, to email, to follow up and begin asking questions about that particular veteran's circumstances. One of the other things we do, there are lots of agencies that provide help, but what we don't do is what I would call, from a military term, fire and forget. We do a warm handoff. If they say, you know what, here's another agency that can help for this particular need, maybe it's childcare, maybe it's prenatal care, just a couple of examples. My folks will call or email the person they know and say, I'm sending this veteran to you. Here's their name, their contact information. So we do a warm handoff so that they don't walk out the door and get lost.
Okay. And how about organizations like, we've got a member, and unfortunately he's not on here today, but he works quite a bit with ESGR. Do you do working with those organizations too?
I'm very familiar with ESGR. Actually, the ESGR person was connected with me in my former life as one of my senior staff. The answer to your question is yes. My 5-person employment team has a strong connection with the current head of ESGR, along with numerous other agencies.
Okay. What about shoes and those types of things? Is that something you're in need of?
Yes. Yep.
We've got a good friend in another Kiwanis club who runs an organization called changingfootprints.org. I don't know if you've dealt with them before, but we can push him your way too. And he supplies a ton of shoes to people all over.
I will have Ashley, who snuck in here behind me. She's trying to whisper in my ear to get me to wrap up. I'll have her reach out to you, Gary, and begin that conversation. I would say, though, while I've got you all here, I just go back to my original point is we will take almost any and every donation, but money works better. Money is better because it allows us to tailor our service to the needs of that veteran. A good example is veterans who find a job, but then they need steel-toed work boots, or maybe they need a good heavy-duty utility jacket. Sometimes they need a toolkit. The employer wants them. So a lot of those things don't get donated. We have to go find them somewhere on the market. So I just offer that. But look, we are never going to turn away a good faith donation.
Thank you. Well, I know you've got other things going on. We've got some members that I'm sure are saying, "Hey, Gary, finish this up." So thank you so much for being here and telling us your story. And we enjoy hearing them, and we look for other ways that we can help. So thank you very much.
My privilege, my pleasure. Thanks everybody for listening to me today and for your interest in helping us in whatever way you can to serve those that have worn the cloth of this nation and sacrificed for our freedoms. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian. For everybody else, our next meeting will be March 18th, and our speaker will be Sheriff Ryan Needham. And I went a little bit different today. Instead of definition of the day, but quote of the day. Tomorrow, definition of the day for tomorrow. A mystical land where 99% of all human productivity, motivation, and achievement is stored. That's the definition of tomorrow. Too bad we can't bring it to today, right? Thank you all for being here today. And some of you will see tomorrow. Anybody that wants tickets, come and see me. Otherwise, I'm going to mail them out. And we'll go from there. Thank you all so much. Take care. Bye.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Andy?